All right. This week's Parsha sets the stage for the concluding scenes of the book of Genesis, which we will read next week. Joseph reveals himself to his brothers in this week's Torah portion. Reconciliation is made, and arrangements are made for Jacob and his entire household to go down into Egypt. By this point in Genesis, Jacob has lived through numerous trials, including estrangement from his presumed dead, beloved son, the death of his wives, violent family feuds, living as a de facto fugitive, severe treachery from his father-in-law, the death of his parents, famine, nearly losing another son, at least from his perspective, and lewd treatment of his daughter by Shechem. In light of how his grandparents fared in Egypt, it is safe to assume that Jacob was not excited about the prospect of moving to Egypt at an advanced age. We all face trials in life and transitions which are not particularly comfortable as they happen. The loss of a job, persecution for our convictions, marginalization for standing up for what is right, financial difficulties, failing health, the strain that comes from realizing that as our children get older, we are too. The loss of a loved one, failing health, unrealized career aspirations. These and many other scenarios come into our lives, sometimes one on the heels of another, sometimes with some respite between challenges. While God may sometimes mercifully extricate us from such trials and others to his glory, it is presumptuous to assume we will never have trials and that our trials will conclude the way we would like for them to. This is not negativism, it is simply the way life is in a fallen world. What sort of assurance did Jacob have as he faced this new upheaval of moving to Egypt in his twilight years? And what assurance do we have in the face of our own struggles? In Jacob's case, in Genesis 46:4, the Lord assures Jacob, I myself will go down with you into Egypt. Knowing God is with us is a calming assurance as we face life's struggles. Can we be assured God is with us as we face challenges? Absolutely. In Hebrews 13:5 we read, keep your life free from love of money and be content with what you have, for he has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. There is no qualifier here. The Lord will never leave us nor forsake us. Rabbi Saul further expands on this concept in Romans 8:35 through 39. Romans 8:35 through 39. Who shall separate us from the love of Messiah? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword? As it is written, for your sake we are being killed all the day long. We are regarded as sheep to be slaughtered. Knowing all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am sure that neither death nor life, nor angels nor rulers, nor things present nor things to come, nor powers, nor height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God in Messiah Yeshua our Lord. We see here that trials do not separate us from God. He is with us through the bad times and the good. In conclusion, we see that Jacob's descent into Egypt became fundamental in the establishment of Israel as a nation, specifically the nation which was to bless humanity with the Messiah and the Scriptures, among many, many other contributions. Our lives have ups and downs, and we may not always know why. Through it all, we need to remember the key truth of Romans 8:28 through 30. Romans 8:28 through 30. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, in order that he might be the firstborn among many brothers. And those whom he predestined, he also called. And those whom he called, he also justified. And those whom he justified, he also glorified. Friends, he is with us to the end. Baruch Adonai.